What's happening, everybody? I'm back with the rest of this little Mr. J. Washington. I'm here with my review for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix. Now, if you have not seen this film yet, come on back because it's going to be spoilers. I know this is seemingly like a late review. Here's the thing. I did this review before. And then when I was cleaning out my computer, I didn't realize I deleted the file talking about the review. So, here we are. But this movie was encapsulating on so many levels, and not just the fact that it is Chadwick Boseman's final performance that we will ever see, the late great Chadwick Boseman. I think it was difficult for myself, along with many others, to go into this and wanting to watch Chadwick's performance based on solely the performance and not because of the knowing this was the last thing we were going to get out of him. And I know that sounds weird to hear and to say. I understand that sounds like how do you separate the two, Jay? How do you take away the knowledge that a great actor is gone and yet just look at their performance in this particular piece of art and examine just that and embrace just that? And it's a difficult thing, I will admit, but I was able to do that. I'd heard many reviews prior, people who had got a chance to screen this before it hit Amazon Prime. And even I'm one of those people that it depends on what the project is and how much the quote unquote proverbial hype is behind it, if I will immediately watch it. Because I know when you look at social media, there's always a bunch of rushing to, like, everybody like, yo, this is great, this is great, this is great, this is great. But then it's hard to discern for yourself. And I eventually watch it, whether it be a day, 2, a week. I watched this back when it dropped. This is a late review. But I have to say that this movie hit all the bells and whistles for me, hit on every single level it did. Viola Davis's transformation into Ma Rainey, into the character, is amazing. It's Viola, but then you look at the weight she naturally put on for the role. You look at the makeup and you look at the emotion and the attitude she gives you. And yes, Ma Rainey is based off an actual woman who ran her own. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, let me go ahead and put my thing on silent like a professional. And who ran her own, and to see that, speaks so much volume as a black woman who was controlling her career, who basically put her management in their place, who told the publisher, yo, this is what we gonna do, this is how we gonna do it, if you don't like it, I can bounce. And in that time, in that day and age where, even though you were a black entertainer, you were still less than. Even though you were making money the equivalent to or surpassing your white counterparts, because of the color of your skin, you were looked at as less than. It speaks so much volume to that. The scene where after her car gets hit, Ma Rainey's car gets hit, and the police come and the police try to, come at her nephew and everybody, and Ma Rainey checks him, and the cop is like, yo, who are you talking to? Basically, because she's a black woman. She shouldn't be talking to a white man, a white police officer like that. And then her manager has to come out and calm him down and then let him know everything. And because, of course, her manager's a white man, and it's so much. But then you go into the performances of Chadwick Boseman, Glynn Turman, who always, look, let's go back to Cooley High with him. You know what I'm saying? We can go back that far, but then many people on a more recent, if you will always note him from A Different World as Colonel Taylor. I go back Cooley High. I go back Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's Son-in-Law, you know what I'm saying, with Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite. So you take all these different elements. Colman Domingo as Cutler is just surreal. Because we see, again, in this time, in this day and age, we see a black man who is devout in his Christianity, in his religion, and his belief of everything. And of course, excuse me for looking down, just glancing at my notes, I make sure I got, because, again, it's been a minute since I did this review. But you have a black man who is a student in his religion, and I bring that up because blacks in this from the South, and because this is where they're based on. They're from the South, and they come to Chicago to record. Blacks from the South, in the midst of segregation, in the midst of what becomes Jim Crow and all the hate and the racism and the vitriol, turn to their faith in Jesus. And I know that many will say, well, white colonizers, white missionaries brought Christianity over to black slaves, and especially during the transportation of slaves from Africa to America, and so on and so forth. And we had our own religions, and yes, this is true. And yes, many people do adopt their own religions. And we've learned throughout life that Jesus was not the white blonde hair, blue eyed man that we were told and depicted in pictures, that he actually had hair like lamb's wool, feet of bronzed clay. You know what I'm saying? That's not a white person at all. Not by any standards. I don't care what you try to kink your hair up. That's just not you. But I say that to say we all change our religious tones at one point in time. Some begin to believe in another deity. Some believe in no deity at all. And you have Cutler, who is that deep into his belief and his belief in his faith in who he is, and will not let Chadwick Boseman's Levy break him down. And we find out how Chadwick Boseman, how Levy despises God because of what happened to his mother being raped and ravaged by white men, because of what it did to his father and turned him to kill a white man and him being killed, and how he just doesn't believe, where was God when all these things were happening to me? And Cutler taking offense to that. All these different things. We see Levy, who knows he can make it. He's doing his playing the horn for Ma Rainey, but he's writing his own songs. He's arranging his own music. He knows that Mr. Studevant, the producer, the publisher, will eventually let him record his own songs, and he's gonna be able to blow up. So this is only a stepping stone being with Ma Rainey. You have Cutler. You have Colman Domingo's character. You have Toledo getting Glynn Turman's here, like, yo, this is what we doing. This is how we do it. And so many conflicts of what to do, what not to do, what I want to do, what you are going to do, that happen throughout this. I love how we have also Ma Rainey again going back to her standing firm on who she is, standing firm on what she believes, and how she tells that her nephew Sylvester, with a stuttering problem, is going to do the opening of the speech, and her manager and Mr. Studevant like, yo, we can't keep wasting tape, per se, records, trying to record this and get this right. We can't keep wasting this. And she's like, yo, you gonna do it as many times as I say you do it. And then eventually Sylvester gets it, and they say it, and then we get to the point where they do the recording and find out it didn't record because of a plug, and then Ma Rainey then blame Levy, and Levy like, I ain't done nothing, and all these things, and Ma Rainey is adamant. Even goes to when the payment comes out, how you have Cutler like, yo, I can't get paid no check. You know what I'm saying? Or when Sylvester's supposed to get paid, and Ma Rainey says, yeah, you pay him out of your money. And they tell Ma Rainey, you pay him out of your money. And Ma Rainey says, if I'm going to pay him out of my money, I was going to do that. You pay him out of your money. And I just love all those different elements. The one thing about Levy, I'm gonna be sharp. He finds those shoes, he sees those shoes when he first gets to Chicago, spends those money on those shoes, and he don't want nobody to mess up and scratch his shoes. And then when we get to the very end of the film, where at one point Toledo accidentally steps on his shoes, Glynn Turman, and then he snaps out because he's been fired from Ma Rainey at this point. He's been told by Mr. Studevant that he can't sell his song. He can't record his songs because his songs are not what they like, but he bought off his songs. And then he snaps out after all of that and kills Toledo. It's the emotion runs high and all through it. I think this movie, it's yes, again, forgive me for not going beat by beat, but there's so much in this that it gets you, especially the ending when after we see Toledo been stabbed and he's dying with Levy holding him and Cutler looking like, yo, what did you do? You see that Mr. Studevant has white men recording Levy's song because he said this ain't what we want, this ain't what our audience to listen to. But it is when it's another voice, and it reminds me of that scene in the Five Heartbeats. For those who haven't seen, when Five Heartbeats, they're trying to get their album pushed out and they want to be on the cover, and the record label is like, let's not do it, because you guys are five black men, we don't think we'll be able to do it. We're gonna have the Five Horsemen do it. We're gonna have five white guys, because that at the time is what America will buy. It is so, we see all these movies and things that are set in these different period pieces and time pieces where, these are things that are actually indicative of the era. And you kind of almost look at it similar to today. Now, yes, black artists are allowed to be themselves on album covers and within their music. But then you have white artists who can emulate the exact same style and sound and whatnot, and they'll be put out, and the record company may promote them more. They'll actually sell more. It's very the semblance to real life is very much there. But all in all, you see about Ma Rainey's relationship with Dusty May, how she kept chicks on the side. Like, she kept chicks, and Levy was trying to bang Ma Rainey's chick, and they was telling her like, "Yo, bro, you might want to get us Ma Rainey's woman." But let's just go to the main heart of this all, and I think it is Chadwick Boseman's performance as Levy. He has two very, very powerful monologues that grip you, that take you on an emotional ride. You go through that emotion with Chadwick. And again, I will admit, it is difficult to go through that ride and look at just the monologue as what it is, and hear it for what it is, and in the moment, shall I say, and not think of it as, man, these are the last powerful monologues we'll ever hear from Chadwick Boseman. But you understand, it paints a picture so vividly of why the man feels the way he feels, why his anger and his level of rage is where it is, and you get that so vividly and so clearly. It brings back the sadness to know we won't get that anymore. And I go past what we see for Black Panther for many. Granted, he's given us many great depictions of many historical and iconic characters. Thurgood Marshall, James Brown, Jackie Robinson, doing action in not just the Marvel series, but in 21 Bridges and so much more. It is very, very, very difficult to look, and the emotion is there. Overall, this movie, we've gotten a plethora of strong black films. I have a review previously on the channel here you can check out of One Night in Miami, The Five Bloods, which is another Chadwick Boseman film. But there's so much we got in a good, powerful black film that doesn't tell a tale of black trauma in the sense of what we're seeing of just slavery and segregation and use the white man's friend and all that. We don't see all that. There's no Green Book. You know what I mean? There's no The Help. But we get these strong tales of perseverance and those who can hold their own. And again, Levy, even though he finally stands up for what he believes in and quits, but after everything goes wrong, he snaps. Now, that trauma is a different level of trauma. That's a personal trauma. That's not black trauma as a whole, if that makes sense. And so I would highly recommend, if you have yet to check out Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, to please do so. I know time has passed and it's become one of those films that, again, this movie dropped, I think, early December-ish, if I'm not mistaken, December, November-ish. Let me double check my notes to make sure, because it'll basically be a great test to tell you, oh yeah, this is exactly. This movie dropped 2020. It doesn't have the exact date here in my notes. I'm looking at it. I'm sorry about that. But it became one of those movies where we talked about for the moment, and then it stopped. And again, I'm not just saying because of the legacy of Chadwick Boseman, but I'm talking about because of the powerful performance of Chadwick, the powerful performance of Viola Davis, the powerful performance of Glynn Turman, Colman Domingo, and others. Make sure you check this movie out, all right? So I want to know, if you've seen this, what you think in the comments below. So go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel right here. Click on the notification bell. Let me know that you watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Have you been meaning to see it? And now this video is a reminder for you to do so. Let me know about that, okay? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. And make sure you're checking out the Man Titan podcast. Everywhere you get your podcast from, I get you caught up in all the things happening in Marvel and DC. The live action and cinematic universes is Barbershop Talk for Nerds. Come on in the convo and check out Blurs in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Myself and Winston A. Marshall, we get you caught up on the world of pop culture, entertainment, news, sports, politics, and more from a Blurred's perspective, and we are unapologetically black, ladies and gentlemen. So come on through, hang with the Blurreds. YouTube.com/BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD, as well as our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/BlurredsinTheHood, spelled the exact same way. I will holler at y'all next time. Till then, take care. I'm out. Bye.